from I was a youth, almost 40 years. So there's a generation that has rise up and have heard or saw my political activism, and perhaps they've made certain judgments. There's a generation that has rise up in this society that I've dealt with 30 years ago, and today these are responsible men and women who permeate the society, and many of them I may have forgotten their names and faces, but when the time is right, they tell me all sorts of things. You would take into consideration that I think February 3rd coming would make 30 years since we organized students at C.C. Sweeting and marched them into the streets. And so 30 years later, these persons are senior civil servants, they are in law enforcement, they're throughout the society, and sometimes when I walk to a place and my back is pushed against the wall, somebody opens the door and said, "Moncur, you don't remember me, hey?" And I said, "No, well, I march in C.C. Sweeting, or I march with R.M. Bailey," and you know, so it's that kind of thing.
Tell us about that march of 30 years ago.
In January of 1983, God sent plenty rain, and C.C. Sweeting leaked. There were holes in the roof, holes in the floors, and the teacher fell through. There was no toilet paper, no soap, no chalk. It was horrible. Pinling and the PLP had neglected their responsibilities in terms of maintaining adequately the schools. And one day I happened to be on my porch in Black Village, and I overheard students passing and complaining, and one threatened that they should burn down the school. And I walked out and I said, "No, no, 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 no. Let's not burn down the school. Let's close it down." And so we had a secret meeting at the school. We mobilized. Dennis Dames at that time was the deputy head boy, or the deputy president of the student council, one or two or both. He emerged as the leader, and we organized, we mobilized, and we marched to Bay Street. Hundreds of students. And by April, when condition didn't improve, Darrell Roll, the Honorable Darrell Roll, not Darrell Miller, Darrell Roll was the Minister of Education. His response was to threaten the students as opposed to listening to their political grievances and correcting them. And so by April of 1983, R.M. Bailey students joined the march.
Whoa, so it grew from C.C. Sweeting to another school.
Yes. And during that period, ZMS interviewed a student from R.M. Bailey. And they asked her, "Why are you marching?" And she said, "Well, Mr. Leonard, I just say we must go out and support." And Pinling them fired Mr. Archer over that. And as it developed, we decided that...
He was fired because of a student's comment, though?
Yeah. Check the Guardian's record. And as a result of that, it began to grow. And we started a march where we marched towards A.F. Adderley, and Pinling sent out the riot squad.
For students?
Yeah. They got to A.F. Adderley, they locked the gates as hundreds of students attempted to rush out, and they dispersed the student marches from C.C. Sweeting, scattering them through the bushes and through Yellow Elder. And so they were exciting days, and those marches set off a series of political events in the country. as a result of that, NBC dropped the bombshell on the PLP, which led to Pinling holding a series of law and order and discipline rallies, culminating in Perry Christie and Hubert Ingram being fired and a commission of inquiry being appointed just before that, and a series of political events that took place, which was precipitated or started or caused by the students. And then,
who were inspired by Mr. Rodney Moncur.
well, me and other young leaders, and a chain of events took place. There was a foreigner, a white man who operated some flowers business. He then infiltrated C.C. Sweeting, and one day when I showed up, it dawned on me that I didn't have any more influence, and that this mysterious white man had the influence. Well, fortunately for me, my uncle, who's now deceased, was a member of the Security and Intelligence Branch. I used whatever connection I had to determine what this was, and as soon as I was able to pinpoint the foreign influence, I got up early one morning. I went into Rock Crusher, where the director of immigration, Barbara Pear, lives. I got there maybe about 6:30, 6:45, and I beat around her house until she wanted to find out what crazy person is beating around her house. And when she answered to me, I said, listen, I need to see you now. And she came up to me and I said, tell Pinling that the earlier marches were controlled by Bahamians, but this foreign man has infiltrated, and I ain't got no influence. Get him out of this country.
What kind of influence did he bring?
Well, he had some gripes with the PLP, and he was now attempting to infiltrate the students to assist him in his political agenda. I've always been a man who believes that foreigners should keep out of Bahamian politics. And to the credit of Barbara Pear, and she's alive, so you can ask her. She was satisfied. I'm saying it for the first time, nobody knew. The press carried that, and they moved against him and kicked his backside out of this country.
When we come back, the man and his message. Mr. Rodney Moncur on the Things That Matter, Guardian Radio 96.9, and around the world on GuardianTalkRadio.com.